Okay, so this video here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter some data into the table, and then I'm going to show you how to calculate the regression line, how to calculate the mean, how to plot the data on a little chart so you can see the data, you can clearly see the mean, and then you can see the regression line going through the mean and find the equation for that regression line. So I'm going to show you how to do all of those things. So first thing we're going to do is press Stat and then Edit here, and I've entered some of the data in already, so I've typed in some of it here. We're just going to go down into L2 and it's going to type in the last few bits so you can see how you do that. So go to where your piece of data needs to be, and then you just type in 40 and then enter, and then I've got 37, and then the last one is 39. Alright, so you enter all your data in until your data is in the tables. List L1 and list L2 should both be the same length. Once you have that done, you can then see what that data looks like by doing a stat plot. So you press second, and then the Y is equal to button where it says stat plot above it, and you'll get this menu up here. And then you will need to first of all go to, press enter, and then turn the stat plot to be on. All right, and then the type here, we want this one with the scatter. So there's other types here that you can choose from, but we're going to choose the scatter one, which is that one. So everything is looking good. I'm just going to press graph, and then we should be able to see it. So no, what have I done there? Because I didn't zoom it. So what I need to do is press zoom, because at the moment it's not showing the right bounds, and then I need to choose number 9 here, which is zoom stat. Then it will automatically set the window the right size for the data, and then you can see we've got our data here. So all of these are plotted nicely in blue. That's fine, we can see that scatter graph. Now what these questions are going to ask you to do is to find the mean. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to stat, we're going to go to calculate, and then because we've got two variables, we've got X and we've also got Y, I'm going to go down to 2 var stats, which is this one. Press enter. The first lot of data was in L1, the second lot of data was in L2, so that's fine. Just keep pressing enter to this calculate, and then we can see the stats there. So X bar, this one here, that means the mean of X. So I'm just going to write that down. It's 175.3, and then the mean of Y is this one, which is 39. Now, what I want to do next is to get that onto my graph. So if I go back to press stat and look at the tables again, I could just enter it on the end of the table here. So I could just scroll down to here and enter it in as the last one. Oh, I've gone too far. Enter it in as the last piece of data here. But if I did that, it would just appear blue like all the rest of the dots, and it would be hard to tell which one's the mean. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to enter it into L3 and L4. So the X bar was 175.3. I'll enter that, and then I'm going to go across to L4 and enter the Y bar, which was 39. Okay, now I've got that in there. What I want to do now is I want to go back to the stat plot again. My stat plot number 1 is already on and it's blue. I'm going to go down to stat plot number 2, enter that. I'm going to turn that one on, and this one is going to show up red. So what I want to do here is check that I've got the dots again, and this time select the X list to be L3 and the Y list to be L4, because that's where I entered my data, into L3 and L4. Now if I press the graph, because I've got my zoom ready, you should see here that the mean is this red one. So I can see that the mean is there right in the center of the data where I'd expect it to be. That's all good. Okay, so when it comes to working out the regression line, what we do then is we press stat yet again, we go to calc, and then we can go down to this one, number 4, where it says lin reg ax plus b. You could also use number 8 if you wanted to, where it says lin reg a plus bx. Basically those two are the same thing, they just display the equation slightly differently. I'm going to continue using number 4 because ax plus b is most similar to y is equal to mx plus c. So I'm just going to use that one. Okay, the data we want to use is the L1 and L2, so it will not include the mean, it will just include the original data. So that's all good. Go down here, press calculate. Okay, and then here we get the equation y is equal to ax plus b. It tells us that a is 0.154. And then B is 11.997. Okay, we've also got our R value, the Pearson's product moment correlation value here, which if we need that, we can note that down as well. So R is 0.85, meaning it's quite good fit. But what we're interested in this time mostly is the regression line. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the y is equal to button, and I'm going to type that number in which I just wrote down. So it was y is equal to 0.154x, and then the b was positive, so plus 11.997. Now if I go to the graph, I should see that I've got my data there, and I've got my regression line which is just drawn in. It's gone directly through the mean, which is what we would expect, because the regression line should always go directly through the mean. It has, so that's a good check that we've got what's going on, and that is our line there. So the equation for the regression line would be what I wrote down, which would be y is equal to 0.154x plus 11.997, which is what I wrote here. Okay, there's the equation for my regression line. All right, once you've finished doing all that, what I suggest you do is you go back and you turn the stat plot back off again, okay, and you reset the thing so everything was back how it was, otherwise that's maybe going to confuse you later. So if I go back to my stat plot, I've got two stat plots turned on, so I'm going to go back down to this one and turn that off. Then I'm going to go to stat plot again, I'm going to go back to this one, also turn that off. Okay, and then finally I'm going to reset my zoom from zoom stat to be zoom standard. Okay, and then I'm going to delete my regression line from my y is equal to here. So then everything should be back how it was. If I draw the graph, I just get the blank normal axes that I'm expecting to see. All right, then everything is back to normal. If you need to do anything else, you shouldn't be messed up with any other features.